What's going on, peeps and peepettes? I am Spec Son here on Brightwave's channel, B-Spec Productions, coming to you live in yourheadonline.com as well on youtube.com. And as you can see on the title, I'm going to discuss a hot topic in the internet wrestling community that's been going on for ever since it first started back in June of 2009. That is the WWE's guest host concept. Now, I was a fan of the concept. I thought it could bring something intangible into the WWE. As we all know, the WWE loves the publicity. They love to get it. They don't really care how they get it. They just really want good, solid publicity for whatever they do. And there's a way to do that, and there's a way not to do that. And I think the guest host concept, although I thought it would be really good, but I didn't know the WWE would extend it into Hollywood, into sports people. I thought it would mostly just be WWE roster types or previous people that have been affiliated with the WWE coming in like they did with Jesse the Body Ventura and the first one with Batista. I had no idea that they were going to extend it for this long and to manipulate the concept and the way they have. And I think for the most part, it has really, I won't say it has hurt the WWE monetarily wise, but I think the way people perceive the WWE, maybe some casual fans that like to tune in to see some of the wrestling and be entertained by that, and long-time wrestling fans, and maybe some fans have just completely tuned away. But it doesn't seem like the concept connects well with the WWE's fan base. And what I mean by that is, if you're a wrestling fan, you are a wrestling fan. And this is one of the biggest problems with the WWE. They associate themselves as sports entertainment while always denying what they really are, which is professional wrestling. You see that on the cable guys that you see when they mention the WWE. The secondary title is always pro wrestling, or in the information box of pro wrestling. People away from professional wrestling, people in the media, they always affiliate it with pro wrestling. I understand why the WWE did it in the late 80s during legal technicalities in terms of commissioners and whatnot of these different state athletic commissions in the late 80s. But it comes a time when you really need to start acknowledging who you are, and I think that's one of the biggest problems with the WWE today. And this guest host concept is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. I understand you want publicity, WWE, but if you're going to bring in a guest celebrity, at least see if they know a little bit about the product, see if whatever they do can mesh well what you're doing as a brand. And when you put guys like Flavor Flav in there last night on Raw, you put guys like Jeremy Piven on there who really doesn't know anything about the industry, even though he claims he does, and he messes up line after line after line. And really the list goes on and on of people who have nothing intangible to do with your product, and you put them onto your show. Now, here and there, I think it's just a hit and miss concept with the company. And I'm not a big ratings guy when it comes to the WWE, but you can really see a lot of fans are not really tuned into it. Whether that be casual or long-term fans who've supported the product for a long time, it's just crazy. I saw some stat today that's really astonished me. The WWE had over a 2-hour program last night on Raw, and we only had 15 minutes of actual in-ring wrestling time. Now, I just think that's just a really shame for the WWE right there. I mean, and the sad part is they're actually building some decent angles with guys like, the Miz and Chris Jericho forming an alliance and against the Hart Dynasty. The Bret Hart and the Miz confrontation seems intriguing. And, of course, Batista and Cena are fighting each other for the zillionth time. But for the most part, the WWE has built some interest into that feud over the last several months. But there's just no wrestling involved. There's no progression of angles through the actual wrestling. And I think that's one of the biggest problems that the WWE has. There's too much entertainment and a less emphasis on the actual wrestling in terms of building angles and stuff. And I think the guest host concept really hurts that progression. When the WWE has these individuals on, they take up so much damn time in an actual Raw program that it's just meaningless. And what value does that really have to the consumer that's watching the program? Only thing they see is just a couple of celebrities that they probably don't know a damn thing about. You know, I love Don Johnson. I love Miami Vice. But who really cares about that when you're talking about a pro wrestling program? I just think that the WWE has overreached itself. Yes, you get publicity, but that publicity is only going to last for a short few days if anyone picks it up. And you're hoping that someone will pick it up. But you know what? They're not really talking about the WWE. You're just affiliated with the act, and the act is the celebrity. And that's what most people are going to talk about. So the WWE is really shooting themselves in the foot. The people who are really getting the publicity is not the WWE, but rather the guest celebrity that comes onto the show. So it's not really even a double-edged sword. It's just a bad idea by the WWE. You know, the best time the guest host concept really worked, in my opinion, was when they brought back the former wrestlers. When you had Jesse Ventura come back on, who was just fantastic. Fans know who he is. They see the old classic WWE footage. And they wanted, and it just fit right in nicely with the product. And it also helped to build a storyline between John Cena and Sheamus. It's just, that kind of stuff works. When Ted DiBiase came back, he helped out tremendously with Legacy. Dusty Rhodes coming back. Even when I mentioned before, Batista beginning the show, helping out in his feud. If these guest hosts that come in have some sort of affiliation with the WWE or something that they do intangible can fit in what the WWE is doing creatively, I think that's when the concept is at its best. But if you're looking for just publicity, if you're the WWE, you really need to just take a step back and really examine if that's actually going to work. One of the biggest misnomers in the world is this slogan: all publicity is good publicity. That's a crock. Not all publicity is really good and beneficial for your brand. And the WWE really should look at that. And if they look at that fairly closely, maybe they can start to understand that this concept has definitely ran its course in the way that they are matriculating it. And maybe, and just maybe, if we keep this thing around, what we really should do is try our best not to embarrass ourselves and put in some people that the fans really know and really care about that can get us the publicity that we're seeking for. That's not only beneficial for the guest host, but also beneficial for the WWE and its fan base. Now, that's my opinion on the guest host concept. Hopefully, it will subside in the next couple of months. I have heard, and we saw on Raw this past Monday, the WWE has deviated the guest host for making storylines and all this other crap, which we already knew for a while that the WWE was deviating their roles, on-screen roles, in that effect. But I'm really glad to see that Raw is getting a real general manager. It may be Vicky Guerrero, maybe somebody, but they need to get somebody that's not only an authority figure, but somebody that's believable, that's realistic. And Vicky Guerrero can do that. I just think she's much better as an on-screen character in a valet role. But that's my take on the guest hosts in the WWE. Hopefully they can really sit down and start realizing what they're doing with their guest hosts. Just don't get anybody. Get somebody that fits in well with what you're doing creatively. And if you can't do that, then you're going to continue to see fans not really care and see horrible programming, in my view. That's my take. Peace out, peeps.